Here are the final results of the international juries. Because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to give our points for the movie, the Eurovision Song Contest, the Story of Fire Saga. At the end of this video, we're going to give our points for this movie Eurovision style. So you can already, guys, you can already think a bit about it. Is it's going to be 12 points, 10 points, 8 points, lower? That's what we're going to do. My name is Bas. I'm streaming from, well, maybe Eurovision Song Contest country number 1, Sweden. I'm joined today to the left by Sven from the country of the last winner of the Eurovision Song Contest, the Netherlands.
Team Duncan.
Yeah, exactly. And down here we got Koen from the country of classics like Maria He. Maria.
Epic classics, yeah.
But also a musician himself. Koen, you are streaming from Romania.
Yes.
Before we get into the movie, we talk each week about movies. We review them, we give reactions. Everything what's connected to movies we do on this channel. If you like that, if you like to hear us talking about it, subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video, you need a bit more probably for that, but also like this video. Then now we get into it. We will try to keep the first part of the video a bit spoiler free because the video of the movie came only out this weekend. So there's probably a lot of people that didn't see it yet. Before we get into the movie, I'm curious to know what you guys have with Eurovision. I want to start with Koen, because Koen, you're a musician. For a long time, the Eurovision Song Contest had the image of being a bit of a freak show. What's your opinion on the Eurovision Song Contest? Your connection to it?
I think it covers a bit, especially the last decade, or like even a decade ago, maybe before. The last couple of, I think the last 4 years, it starts to become a bit more serious with also from the Netherlands, but also from like, we had it was a Portuguese winner, I think, but that's really
Salvador Sobral.
Yeah, it became a bit more serious, and but honestly, that sounds really nationalistic, but besides the Dutch competitors the last couple of years, I still didn't think it was that serious.
No.
But it's fun for me. Like I used to watch it when I was young. You know, my parents always they put it on in the evening, and you watch it together, and you had fun. And when I moved to Romania 8 years ago, I also watched it the first couple of years because it was always fun to watch. And it's a lot as a musician. It's you don't take it serious, but it's because for me the problem is there's also a lot of bands that are playing, but they're all playbacking, of course. Only the vocals are real. Yeah. And that for me was always a bit like because there were some good songs even with bands, but yeah, they're all faking it, so that's a bit strange. But for me, it's just the fun factor. It's if you have an evening free and it's on, it's always nice to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sven, for you, what's your connection to the Eurovision Song Contest, or not at all, maybe?
Well, I always liked it to see it as a family event. When I was young, we were watching in the 90s every year Eurovision, and we were judging it with giving points as well. So
nice.
My childhood memory. At some point, I come also kind of out of the critical family when it comes to music. So it was at some point not cool anymore to cheer for the Eurovision or to watch it. And I think the Eurovision also can blame itself by make it a freak show at some point and not taking music serious. They were actually a parody on music, I would say, for a period. But as Koen said, in the last 5 years, it became much better. Also, like really recommended artists from the Netherlands participated. With Anouk, the Common Linnets. I think they changed the culture around it, and it's again a song contest. So you can say it's cool again. You know? Yeah.
Still, I think East Europe still doesn't take it serious. They send whatever they want. But
if you see Bulgaria the last years, for example, they sent quite some good acts. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you that you have sometimes some of those countries they're just sending a beautiful girl and some dancers.
Romania had like
easy points or something.
Yeah.
But they're at least not winning or not being high ranked anymore.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's also I the same story as you guys. I also always used to watch Eurovision with the family, being on the sofa, giving points, having some snacks and some soda
Exactly.
on the table. Always have been a massive Eurovision fan, so I really love it. And well, in that way, it's good that I moved to Sweden, which is Eurovision country number 1. Maybe you got always primary rounds here for already months going before the contest actually is there.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy here. I found my spot.
I can imagine, yeah.
But to start with the movie, yeah.
Like na, 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 na. What's your favorite song?
Well, we get into it later also because he was actually in this movie, and that is "I'm in Love with a Fairy Tale."
Oh,
Do you know it? Alexander Rybak with the violin.
Yeah.
Sweden?
Norway.
Norway.
Norway. Yours?
Mine or Koen?
Yeah, Sven.
I think Shine a Light.
Love, shine a light.
Yeah.
Nice, Koen.
Or Soldi,
I'm
the one
looking
from last year, Mahout from Italy. That's maybe my newest favorite. Yeah.
Okay.
Mahout, which one?
Soldi.
Soldi, Soldi. Yeah, the rest of the lyrics I don't know, but yeah.
No, my favorite. I'm looking for it 1 second because there's one that me and my girlfriend have a fun from 2017. You remember the Swedish guy, Robin Bengtsson?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
There was a song again?
The song was "I Can't Go On." It was this.
I can't go on.
Yeah.
I can't go
he had
on.
This look in his eyes, and like he started behind the screen, and he was putting his jacket on while someone gave him a mic in front of his head.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
Yeah. Good, but to get into the movie now, that was also what right away was recognizable for me, is that they started the shot with the family around the table, Will Ferrell as a little boy. So that really right away gave me the feels like, yeah, this is the Eurovision feeling.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what I right away also noticed is that they said it's in association with the European Broadcasting Union. That was one of the titles that they showed right away. I felt like, okay, that's a good thing because probably they won't go the super spoof way then
to make too much fun of it.
And that's actually also I saw an interview with the director. And it's an American guy, and he until this movie I never heard of the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, really?
And Will Ferrell, who wrote this movie, he sent him the script, and he said, okay, I want to do this movie, but I looked into it now and I see how many fans there are. And I want to make this movie, but I don't want to make fun of it. I don't want to make fun of those people. There's 180 million people, 80 million people watching it each year. I don't want to make fun of those people. I more want to make like a love letter to those people that this is something they can really enjoy.
He wanted to make a love letter. Okay.
Yeah, that's how he phrased it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I have to say, for me, that worked. But
love letter for you?
Yeah, I think this movie has the feels that Eurovision is without getting it overboard.
Oh, that's
still,
true.
yeah.
That's true.
So I feel like Eurovision is something with a lot of campy things and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And they showed that, but without making it ridiculous, I feel. So I think for me they hit the right tone for that matter.
Yeah, that's true. But
yes, I think they showed their freaky parts that Eurovision has. And for some people, maybe it's still too freaky, but I think that's also the progressive culture Eurovision wants to show off to the outside world, to that progressive image they have with diversity and inclusiveness.
Definitely. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For me, it was.
Yeah.
Sorry. For me, it was like I expected it I expected them to make more fun of it, but then it's good that you say because they actually. I liked it a lot that they made a lot of fun of the Americans. That's really
Yeah.
Actually.
And the Russians.
The Russians.
But of course, him being himself an American is funny, you know.
And of course, Iceland was being.
Yes.
But I think the Icelandic people are ironic or sarcastic about themselves as well. So I think they can handle it.
let's move on now into the acting, because there was actually a lot of Icelandic actors also in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like the main parts is mostly Americans, or well, no, actually Rachel McAdams is Canadian.
Yeah.
Brosnan is part Irish, originated Ireland.
Scottish, no?
No, Irish, I thought.
It was also in the showdown.
Yeah,
With the
yeah,
Irish-
exactly. Yeah.
So we don't.
Then we had one guy. Huh?
No, you're right. Sorry, I thought it was Scottish always. Sorry.
No, yeah, Irish,
you're
Irish.
right.
Then we got Dan Stevens. He's British. The guy that played the Russian guy.
Oh, he was so creepy good.
Yeah. That's very.
Oh,
Well, and then we got one guy that is actually Swedish. But let's get into what we thought about the actors to start with.
I had to think of you, by the way, but then Stevens.
You think of me?
Yeah, I had to think of you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Why?
Go on, boss.
Nee.
What is this then? I'm a gay Russian dancer.
No, but you can have this.
He's a bit slimy. I think you could.
Smooth slimy.
You could say.
Says you.
Can get over the top version of you 10 years ago in a nightclub.
Okay, that says something. That's not good. I'll think about one of you. Nice.
No, but he was very good. He played his part really well, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
it
is he
was great.
famous? Bas, do you know where he's famous from?
No, I didn't know till now, but he played
think it.
one movie that I saw with him is Beauty and the Beast, where he played the Beast actually.
Oh, I didn't see that movie. With the one with the girl from Harry Potter.
Yeah, and he was actually also in Downton Abbey. My girlfriend told me, because I haven't seen Downton Abbey.
No, me
but
neither. Call of the
apparently he
Wild,
was
I saw
in
it.
there.
Oh yeah,
And-
he plays in the movie with Harrison Ford from this year, Call of the Wilds. That's where
Okay.
I know him from. He also plays a douchebag there, so it's nice.
Yeah, and he's quite a serious actor. So I
No.
saw that. I read that the director also needed quite some convincing to get him into this part.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Same with Rachel McAdams, of course, who was also more a serious actor and never so much in comedic roles. But what did we think of Rachel McAdams?
I don't think a spectacular role from her, but the funny thing was I read a bit about it because the singing in the movie is the intros are done by her a lot of times. And you can also hear her own voice, and then when it gets like really difficult, there's some I think British
Swedish.
singer,
Swedish.
Swedish young woman sings, especially the last song at the end of the movie. Is very impressive, the vocal skills. So, but
Yeah.
acting wise, I don't think you have to be impressed with this movie. She was good, but not spectacular in my opinion.
No.
What do you guys think?
No, but I think the movie is also not the type of being.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, you're overwhelmed maybe by the acting because it's meant to be funny and entertaining. I think those are the two.
And not too deep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
First, so I think if she would have played a different movie, she would also been a different actress. But I think she did what she had to do. I think it was.
Her accent was okay-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had in the beginning had a bit trouble with her and also with her accent. The first couple of scenes, I felt like, okay, maybe it's a bit too much. Maybe the accent is a bit too much. I was a bit doubting, like, okay, I was a bit
Do
cringing.
you know the Icelandic accent in English? Because I don't know.
Nee.
Is it similar to Swedish and Danish, or?
A bit, I guess, but.
Because they don't
it's
have
also-
such an accent, do they?
No, yeah, they do have quite a thick accent, I think. Also Swedish. It was a bit like Swedish. It was close, this. Because Swedish also have a bit...
Most Swedish people don't have like a really good English without accent.
Everybody has an accent. Probably we have an accent. If probably, well, people can leave it in the comments. But probably we have a Dutch, like if you have a Swedish accent... A Swedish accent is a bit like... I'm trying. Sometimes I can come up with it like... Yes, my name is Bas. I come from Sweden. The country of Sweden is a beautiful country. It's a bit like that.
A little bit German. Yeah. I thought Sweden doesn't have this. That's why for me, I also thought the same as you. Like, accent in the beginning, I was also like, yeah, does she have a good accent? And I thought, does Will Ferrell have a good accent? But then after a while, you got used to it. You thought it was okay.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, they both. Well, Rachel McAdams had a dialect coach for this. So she practiced very well, and Will Ferrell just more or less took from his Swedish wife.
Wife. Yeah,
So this is probably a bit more Swedish than Icelandic, but And it's apparently also his name is Lars in the movie, and Lars apparently is not at all an Icelandic movie, but the makers found, or Swedish, they found it as a funny name to give him. Did you, by the way, see that his last name is Ericksong and not Erickssong?
Instead of the phone, it's a song, yeah.
Yeah, she was called Ericksdóttir.
Yeah, Dottir, yeah.
Ericksdóttir and Erickssong.
I don't remember that. Nice.
Yeah. No, so I found also Rachel McAdams at the beginning a bit rocky, but later on I was convinced by her performance, and I think she did very well. I think the chemistry between the two of them, between McAdams and Ferrell, worked for me. I bought into their love story there. For me, they brought the heart a bit into it. So for me, that was well done. What do you guys feel about the chemistry, or maybe about Will Ferrell?
It's fun.
Yeah, as you say, I think it was doing the job. You were believing it. Although for me, the romantic story was not involving me in the movie. I was more curious about the contest part of their two, not in their love story. I think the love story was quite predictional. What could happen?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe over the top even. Can I already talk spoilers or not?
No, not spoilers yet.
Okay. Well, so I think, it was not like the storyline was not like surprising, or but it was also not so necessary, and they were bringing it where they had to bring it for me, and but I was not like emotionally involved with their story.
No.
It was also not the aim.
For me, it was like the chemistry was very good between the two. There were some moments that they could have, if they voted differently, maybe they could have made you really go like emotionally with them. But yeah, it never was serious enough to follow that road. Which also, for me, that's something to talk later about maybe. But Will Ferrell was good. I'm not a big fan of him in every movie. American movies, comedies that are with a lot of dick jokes and stupid things like typical American stuff, which I really don't like. I like him a lot in Anchorman, both movies. That for me was amazing, really funny to watch. And no, he was serious, but also not. He was serious enough to fit the role that he wanted to do. So no, he was. Yeah. Both of them did a good job, I think. Oh.
Yeah. And then we all said Brosnan was also quite. Was not so much that he had to do. He just played one note more or less the whole movie, just
he
being
had to look
this
really
bit
cool with his beard, and
So and then there were some fun cameos that I really enjoyed, and I'm not sure if you guys recognized them, but you had all those Eurovision artists. You had John Ludwig, Conchita Wurst, Sofia Sobral, Bilal Hassani, Jamala, Netta, Alexander Rybak, my favorite, with the violin.
The Israeli girl.
Israelian, nee.
Anna from the chicken song. Yeah, from the chicken song.
Yeah, Netta.
Oh,
Netta.
One. Yeah.
Oh, Netta is the name. And but also the Portuguese guy was playing. Is in the movie, no?
Salvador Sobral. He was playing in Edinburgh.
I didn't recognize because he's a bit. He gained a bit of weight.
He looked a bit different. Yeah, we were also discussing like, is that really him or not? But it was really him.
Yeah, I also didn't know exactly. Yeah.
So they were in it, and Graham Norton, of course, who always does the voices for the BBC, was in it. He was quite funny. And then you had around Eurovision.
They didn't. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, they didn't. I don't think they benefited enough from Graham Norton because he's really famous for making really bad comments and nasty comments with the live show. I don't think they used him enough. I think.
Maybe not. Maybe not
enough because he had a lot of scenes where he was commenting. But you think the comments were not good enough?
Yeah, but not the comments weren't good enough. That's okay.
Yeah,
this one is right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also wonder a bit when I saw it from like how good of an actor is he? He's a presenter. I'm not sure if he's really a good actor who can deliver the lines in that way when they're on a page already.
Maybe, yeah.
I think he's more spontaneous throwing them out there or something.
Yeah, but then I think that's the key role of a director to let him feel himself and to let him just comment. True. Like if it was real.
Also true. Yeah.
I think that should be then co-working between Graham and the director, because if Graham can just do whatever he else to do, I think he could as Koen said, maybe perform better jokes, but
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of, there are more. No, it's true, but there are more movies where they take someone that has to do exactly what he normally does, and then the line that
It doesn't work.
Used to them, they don't work somehow. Yeah, it's
Right,
not the first movie with famous people.
yeah.
So yeah, no, but great cameos was also one guy I always watch who has a YouTube channel. That's the Wee Box, his most popular vlog around the Eurovision is William Lee Adam, who was also having a part. I was happy to see that.
Nice, cool. They pulled everybody in. It's nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, they really took the community in. Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I love that also.
Yeah. So okay, let's move on with the jokes. What did we think of the humor? Sven.
The humor, yeah. In the beginning, you have to. I was still kind of discovering if is it now a parody, serious, or making completely fun of the whole Eurovision. And later I found out, okay, it's a tribute parody, and then I started also liking everything much more, and I started to accept that it was just freaking out everything, and that everything you should not take it too realistic with all the plot turns and stuff. And then yeah, I liked it. It was not that I was laughing out loud, but somewhere in the distance I saw British humor, and that's one of my favorite kind of humor in the world.
Yeah.
So I think it was like somewhere in going that direction of British humor, and that's what I like.
Yeah. For you, Koen?
Yeah, so without giving spoilers, there's a scene in the movie I won't describe now, but there's one scene, and I think you guys know already if I say it just without saying even what happens. I returned the scene 3 times on Netflix because I really laughed my ass off.
I don't know if it's the same, but I have I also have written down one that really cracked me up. But humor is personal, so maybe we have different scenes. But we will see.
Without spoilers, it has to do with the actor that you just described, the last one. So
I'm not sure if that's the scene that I mean. So that will be interesting in the spoiler.
I think it's the same guy because but for me there were some jokes that were okay. It was funny. There was again a moment that was a bit too American, a joke, but it was okay. They didn't overdo that, thank God. I was a bit scared of Will Ferrell because he does it sometimes, of course. But the joke that I will describe later, then I was my girlfriend didn't laugh that much, but I laughed a lot. I reversed it 3 times because I thought it was really funny. But
good. Yeah, I thought it was also working quite well, the jokes. There were some that worked less good for me. They were a bit cringy, but overall it quite worked well for me.
Yeah.
What I also really liked was the locations, that it was filmed actually in Iceland and actually in Scotland. The real locations. And a lot of movies are nowadays shot in the movie studios. I think that added to the charm of this movie, that you really felt like, hey, this is really Iceland, this is really Scotland.
You got a bit the European spirit also a bit. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, but I also was wondering, because when they were performing really in a huge arena with a huge crowd, and like the choreography and the singing, it was quite huge, and impressive. I was wondering how they did that.
I know.
Yeah, did they use the real Eurovision or not?
They went to Tel Aviv. They went to Tel Aviv 2019, and they made shots of the audience there. So all the wide shots that you see, those are actually from the real Eurovision.
I thought so, because how can you get so much people to look so real? It's not CGI, so
yeah. And then they had a very good choreography team. They had a very good music team of Swedish music makers that also work with Max Martin, and so they had a really good creative team there, which really shows, I think, the next thing that I get into, the songs. For me, they really worked. It was really Eurovision songs, and they were actually fun songs. It was not some really bad, over the top. It was just like just decent pop songs.
They were actually songs that they could have put, but then only the lyrics were just funny, you know. But everything else was like normal. It could have been on the radio, No, the hip hop song that you had from I don't know what country, but
Sweden.
Sweden. Yeah. No, I think that was really a big advantage, or like the movie was really benefiting from this creative teams, because it's it gave it also a realistic part. And like a trustworthy part that it's also like not only 100% freaking and making fun of everything. It's also like, being kind of a statement because of this. That it's also about quality and that they are able to organize this huge event every year. Eurovision.
Yeah. There's actually an anecdote I heard from the director that said like that he was the song, I think the Double Trouble song actually, or the Husavik one, I'm not sure, but that the producers showed it to the director, and they were thinking actually if he didn't pick it, then they were probably going to plug it to Ariana Grande or something to have her actually the hook of the song, then at least maybe not the lyrics but the hook of the song.
I imagine, yeah. Did you guys realize who the main singer was from Iceland?
The main singer, what
The
do you
girl?
mean?
The girl
Demi
that you
Lovato.
see- Yeah, exactly. But you didn't recognize her for a while. Yeah.
I only realized at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Sven, you know Demi Lovato or not?
Okay.
You know her song for sure on the radio. Yeah, she's not really. It's not an artist I think you like, but for sure you know her songs. Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's move into the spoiler section. The story.
Right.
What did we think of the story? Let's just make it very broad to begin with, and maybe we can bring it back a bit smaller. Then pick some scenes out, like you talked about, Koen, the ones that had you fired up, cracking up. For me, there were also some. Sven, what did you think about the story overall?
Story overall, I think it was not a story that particular special and involving, but it was the moral of the story was quite touching, or like not touching. It was like I think the moral of the Eurovision contest, bringing people together, believe in yourself. Although everybody thinks you don't have any chance or that you're not included, you can be part of the world with your talents. And this being told in a funny, entertaining way. I think that's for me the story. And
I think that's the theme they really showed well with Dare to Dream. I think that was the slogan actually of the last Eurovision. But it's this guy played by Will Ferrell who dreams of winning the Eurovision since a little boy, and you got this Rachel McAdams who believes actually in elves, and that's also there's all things are connected to Dare to Dream, and those elves. In the movie, it turns out those elves are really alive. There's really elves living there, and I think that's what they're telling there. Like, dare to dream. If you dream, everything is possible, and there's more in this world than you can imagine. I felt that really shined through very well. I think this movie really had despite all the fun, it had a heart, and I think that was nicely done for a movie like this.
Yeah.
I see you doubting, Koen.
Okay. Yeah, no, for me it was, if you say it like this, it sounds like perfect description, but for me, I didn't personally feel like this. The message, but the way they did it, for me, the main, if you take the whole story, for me, the middle part of the story wasn't really there. So I thought that it has a nice beginning, it has a nice end, it has some funny stuff in between. But the story for me, the chapters like in the middle of the movie, they were too weak it was too slow for some moments for me.
Okay. And is there any specific ones you refer to?
Yeah, I'm thinking. So the beginning, of course, because we can talk spoilers now, right?
Yeah, we can talk spoilers, definitely.
Yeah. So the beginning, of course, you have to. It was funny that the boat blows up and you have to have
That was my moment. That was the moment when I was pulled into the movie. I was a bit down, like, okay, where's this going? And then this boat exploded, and I was cracking up. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
That was my kind of humor.
That was good. No, exactly. That was very
amazing.
It's
and then
Diana
showing up again. That was the second time I was loving the script right.
Without the arm. Horrible, bizarre humor. I love it.
No, I liked I like the boards of the Icelandic Eurovision Commission or whatever you want to call it. They were funny. Also, there was a famous, I think, Icelandic actress, the one with the white pony hair, like this.
Yeah, I also know her from somewhere, but I don't know from what.
She also looks a bit like Björk, but she's also famous. I think she's famous actress. I don't know where I know her from. The board was funny. The beginning was funny. There's the stories of that they had to play in that band, and they only wanted that horrible song, Ding Ding Song or whatever.
Ding Dong, yeah.
That was very funny for
Ding
me.
Dong, yeah.
This guy, this freaking, like every village had such a
Idiot, yeah.
like
Ding Dong, yeah, exactly.
yeah, the idiot of the town.
Oh, yeah, but that was funny. But then I think the moment from they go from they leave Iceland and they go to Edinburgh, it was a bit. I don't know exactly what moment, because you asked what moment.
I think Koen.
I missed something.
And what the problem might be, because that's my problem with this movie a bit, is that there's no motivations for the villain. You have this Russian guy and this Greek woman. They team up to break up Will Ferrell, Lars, and Sigrit. But there's never really clear why they try to break up them, because they're last in the polls.
Exactly.
So they are not competition. So later you find out that he wants to be some duo with her but he's gay, but he just thinks it's like, but it's very thin, and I think that was weakening. That maybe they could have spent a bit more time with creating motivations for our villains.
It was till it reached again a bit of a climax. It was like in between, like you didn't know where it was going. So it was a bit like at the beginning. Also, you were like, okay, this is not bad, but where's it going? Then suddenly it became funny. Yeah. And then you realize where it was going, and again they had this moment like, okay, like, in my opinion, maybe they wrote it not. Maybe they had a different team of writers. Will Ferrell wrote it himself, only the screenplay.
Yeah, two people, Will Ferrell and another guy. But I didn't hear that the first cut that the director made was 3 hours long actually. So there is quite a lot of material, but I don't know what's left and cut in. But.
No, so literally for me, the movie was at a certain moment. Me and my girlfriend both were like, I don't know. Okay. And then suddenly the scene happened with the elves, where the guy got stabbed in the back, and suddenly the elf door closed, and I was like, holy shit! It's like Monty Python, you know, like. Yeah,
true.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot. Yeah, it was very bad, but very good in a way, you know, like. That's how humor can be.
Yeah,
it's an easy joke to make, but somehow it was really funny. Like,
it was unexpected also.
Elves are real, you know, and the door just shuts down somewhere.
Yeah. What I also what I really liked, the scene I really liked was the scene the medley was really fun.
Yeah,
I loved that. That was for me, all the Eurovision vibes when the medley came with all the artists and all those songs. I was just like smiling, and for me that's like, okay, here it shows really that this is a Eurovision movie that wants to celebrate Eurovision. Yeah.
That was nicely done.
Exactly. Yeah.
You also like that one?
It was like a party you also want to be part of in some way. Yeah.
It was nice.
And at some point you're gonna start guessing yourself who's who, and so I saw the Conchita, and she was still on her back, and I thought, Conchita.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
I'm happy that you guys recognized them all. I was a bit afraid that I was the only Eurovision nerd, and that you wouldn't.
No, so let's see Sven.
And I think that was also the moment where you could. Yeah, I recognized her on the back when I saw her on the back already.
Yeah.
But I think who else did you recognize?
The Swedish singer from last year. I don't know his name.
Yeah, John Ludwig.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. But
and then you have the guy with the
girl from Israel who came at.
Of course. She was so obvious you cannot deny her.
Yeah.
With the cool moves.
For the rest, I don't know so well everybody by name, but.
Loreen, Euphoria.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even. I didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
That's actually that's my favorite song from Eurovision.
Yeah, it could be.
It became a really cool dance hit. It's a really nice song, actually.
Yeah.
But with this, for me, the movie, I think, claimed it was a pro-Eurovision movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before that, I still had some doubts, but with this scene, I was convinced that it was going to be pro Eurovision movie where it was supporting the culture and the image of it.
So what I was also a bit worried about is that they were all the time playing with the fact that they might change songs, and I felt like no, because you can't, because as soon as you get into Eurovision, your song is decided, and you can't change anything about the song anymore. So I felt like, okay, are they going to retcon that? I felt like they can't do that because then they just ignore all the rules of Eurovision, and it's the European Broadcasting Union supports this movie. So, but luckily in the end, they did change their song. But then they were also automatically disqualified. So I'm happy that they went that route. Yeah. So that was also, and then afterwards they had their big love scene, I think, on the stage.
Yeah, I didn't like it too much.
No, you didn't like it?
No, I think it was too pathetic, over pathetic, okay. And I think the movie was or the couple was not that pathetic at all. They were really like. Icelandic down-to-earth types, and what happened with changing the song and putting all the balls on romance was already on the edge for me. But I thought, okay, I understand it's for the love for music, and it was also kind of authentic to really Icelandic way of doing that. We don't give a shit. We're gonna just play another song. So okay, you know. And then they had to kiss also on stage. I found it really too much cliche, pathetic.
It fitted in his movie.
No, they had to kiss back home in Iceland.
I get you.
Or in the plane or whatever, but I think they had no.
I get your point. It didn't bother me, but
or back in the room, even better. But not on the stage with all the cameras on. I think it was
too American for you.
I would say.
American, That's when also like too American.
Well, before
they didn't like Americans, so.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. And they're also Icelandic, so it makes more sense.
There are movies where it should fit, where it could fit, like Johnny Cash, Walk the Line, but
of course,
it happens also real. But I found it a bit okay. Come on,
cheesy,
guys.
Too cheesy.
Cheesy.
And also describing that they are both Icelandic people, more down to earth, it would have made sense. I agree with your point. Oh.
Yes, it didn't bother me, but I get your point. Before we get into the conclusions, I had one last scene that I found great, and that was Will Ferrell walking over the airport after he leaves Eurovision with his silver sunglasses and his silver.
And behind him, on screens, where you saw her crying and winning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was also a great scene.
Also on the boat, and he wants to exit the fishing boat. Sorry, Sven.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because I was thinking there, what's going to happen now? Is he going back, or is she
what is he gonna do?
going to perform with the Russian guy?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're gonna move into the final conclusions. We're gonna give the final results from the international juries. You can give a little motivation first before you give your points. So it's either 12, 10, 8, all the way down to 1. That's how the Eurovision scoring works. So let's start with the votes from... I see Sven has difficulty, so I start with Romania. Let's start with the votes from the Romanian juries.
Well, for sure not 12... How do you say it? 12
points.
12 points. That's in French. 12 points. Or the hilarious, horrible version in Holland we did last year with the girl. It was like dying on stage from screaming. I really enjoyed it. So when it comes to enjoyment, I will give it, out of 12 points, I would give it an 8. But as a movie, I would give it a 6 from 12, honestly.
6 points, okay.
Yeah.
So Romania, we write down 6 points from Romania. Then we go to the Dutch jury. From the Netherlands, it's Sven. Sven, your points for
now.
The Story of Fire Saga.
Good night, whole Europe. Thank you for this great show. How are you doing? Waiting 5 seconds too long, not hearing.
Yes, we're doing great. Yes, thank you.
You have to talk about Madonna's autotune now, you know?
Yeah, Madonna, she was performing great, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you too.
Your points, please.
Yeah, nice.
Bas
nice.
knows his way
The
to
weather
that.
is good. The weather is good.
This is so bad.
The Netherlands will give 7 points to Iceland.
7 points to Iceland for the Story of Fire Saga.
Exactly.
Very good. Then the final results from the Swedish jury. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I found it funny. It was a bit cheesy at times. Some jokes were a bit cringy. The story lacked a bit of motivations for the villains. So that's some down points. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a celebration of 50 years of Eurovision. And so, from the Dutch juries, the Swedish juries, it is 8 points.
Ah, nice. Nice.
So that completes it. The Story of Fire Saga, 8 points, 7 points, and 6 points, was it?
Yeah.
So a total of 21 points, Eurovision style. We quite enjoyed this movie. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this movie. We are really curious to know. If you liked us talking about this movie, hit that like button. And if you want to hear us talking about a lot of other stuff, movies, series, everything connected to it, subscribe to this channel. Then we say goodbye now. Sven, bye. Koen, bye. Guys, bye. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.